Cooperation. Do you know what it is? It means working together as a team. In other words, putting your strengths together to become something greater. Some companies are created by people who join together to achieve a common goal through a cooperation. These companies are called cooperatives. Business idea? Want to create jobs? Keep profits in your community? Consider a co-op. Most type of businesses do well structured as a cooperative, from power generation to daycares, financial institution, and to grocery stores. When members are owners, jobs, profits, and control stays local. One of the most enjoyable parts of incorporating cooperatives is to work with a group to determine an appropriate name for business. This is done early in incorporating process, and it's a great way to make the people interested in a new initiative. And thinking potential names for the cooperative were a few important parts to consider. First, the cooperative must contain a certain word in its legal name. For example, in a Structure 1, a new cooperative must have the words limited and co-op or cooperative in its name. In a BC, however, this option expanded to include union, association, or exchange. New co-op must comply with this regulation or their name should be rejected. Remember that even though cooperative's legal name must contain certain words, that doesn't have to be the name you use in a day-to-day operations. How you market your business can be very different from the co-op's legal name. For example, Alif Partners Workers Cooperative simply market itself as Alif Partners. Also, a retail cooperative might have a legal name like North 53 Customers Cooperative Limited or further itself as a co-op. It is important to convert purpose in the name of cooperative. Creating an easy-to-understand recognizable name is the best way to convey your purpose to customer or members. You might not have to use the word co-op if it is strategically important. No need to include that in your marketing. Sometimes it is important to go what's familiar to your customer base. There's a lot of things to consider when naming your business. Working with other members in a co-op is a great team-building exercise that will produce plenty ideas. If you're thinking building your business as a co-op, you need to go on process. This process in creating a legal cooperative entities requires the completion of documents like Article of Corporations and Bylaws. First, let's look at your Article of Incorporation. This will serve as a co-operative charter or certificate that establishes its existence as a legal entity. This article will contain a lot of information as the rules for having a cooperative operate will be captured in your bylaws. Your articles of incorporation can be broken down into 4 categories. First, you get the basic information. Your article will identify the name of the cooperative and its location. It's important to register your name at the government first and include the physical address or street number, or you have to fix it later depending in your province. The name of your cooperative mainly includes specific words like limited and co-op or cooperative. Second, your article should outline the cooperative initial capital structure. This includes identifying the types of shares, common or preferred, and the number of each share the cooperative will issue. This can always be amended later in the event of co-op needs to issue additional shares. Third, your articles will contain several provisions that detail the organization and how it will operate. This includes a brief statement about the cooperative purpose and any restriction that the co-op can carry on, and any provisions necessary for the establishments of the co-op. Finally, your article should be accompanied by a signed list of the cooperating members with their contact information and consent form from the members that agreed to serve as the co-op's first directors. Not all members need to serve as directors, but there is a minimum number that should be met. Once you have completed the necessary provision and gathered the requirements signature, your article of incorporation are ready for submission. Next, let's take a look by the bylaws of cooperatives. A quantum bylaws are rules and regulations that govern aspects of the co-op and how it's carried on a business. bylaws are much more comprehensive than the Article of Incorporation. It should be reviewed regularly to determine its updates and required. Bylaws are made up of many provisions that can be broken down into 5 categories. First, the basic, including the cooperative's name and its location and its fiscal year. Next, you need provisions of governing shares and shareholders. This includes setting conditions that people needs to make to become a shareholder, determining the process for leaving the co-op, and if the co-op will allow joint shares. There should also have provisions in your bylaws around how profit or surplus revenue is allocated, including how much to set aside in your reserve fund and how much to be distributed to shareholders. Third, setting provision will deal rules around meeting. This includes guidelines for board member and member meeting. Specific provision typically include rules for quorum, notices of meetings, and the process for voting in elections and resolutions. Bylaws should have outline for the agenda and annual meeting following the basic rules of order. Fourth, bylaws should clearly outline the rules, expectation, and purpose of the board of directors. This normally includes the condition on becoming a director powers and duties, and the duties of officers like president or treasurers. Fifth, finally, bylaws should outline the process necessary to make significant changes to the cooperative. These include the process for changing, appealing, or replacing bylaws and dissolving the cooperative. Hello there, buddy. Now, let's find out what organizational structure means. Meet Nancy. She is the Chief Executive Officer or CEO of the Awesome Co-op, a company with 35 members. This is Jim. He is the Chief Operating Officer or COO of Awesome Co-op. He is Nancy's second in command who reports directly to her. Jim oversees a wide variety of areas including production, sales, and marketing. Mutlu is the Chief Financial Officer or CFO. To simply put, he is responsible for financial health of the company. Nancy, Jim, and Mutlu are Awesome Co-op executive teams, but Awesome Co-op has more employees than just 3, a lot of more. Let's take a look at the financial department. As you remember, Mutlu is the CFO and this is his team. Laila is a senior receivable accountant. She manages accounts receivable. That's the money coming in the company from its customers. She makes sure invoices get issued and that Awesome Co-op gets paid on time. This is Thomas. He's Laila's peer, meaning that he most likely to receive comparable compensation and they both report to Mutlu. Thomas' area is slightly different though. Thomas handles accounts payable. That's the money that the company pays to its suppliers and service providers. He also happens to handle company tests. Susan is the procurement specialist. She works for the company suppliers and partners to make sure that the company always has sufficient resources and that service contracts are up to date. She frequently scouts new vendors in order for Awesome Co-op gets the best prices, and Thomas is her manager. As a whole, financial department, of course, there are more departments together. All these employees are from Awesome Co-op. Decision-making power flows from the top of the bottom with a greater concentration at the top. All companies are slightly different, but this will give you a solid start.